1 Corinthians 15, start in verse 3. For I delivered to you first of all that which I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures, and that he was seen by Cephas, or Peter, then by the 12. And here's verse 6, the key verse. After that he was seen by over 500 brethren at once, of whom the greater part remain to the present, but some have fallen asleep. In verse 6, Paul is saying that the risen Christ was seen by over 500 people at one time, and that the majority of them were still living. Paul does not write this if he can't back it up. If he was promoting a hoax and he couldn't back it up, he would have just said, after that he was seen by over 500 brethren at once. He wouldn't have said the greater part are still living. You don't claim that there were 251 plus witnesses to the resurrected Christ still living at the time of this writing if you couldn't back it up. He had very strident Roman and Jewish critics that would have loved nothing better than to discredit him permanently. You better believe he was able to back this claim up. If he couldn't back it up, if there weren't really 251 plus witnesses, his movement never would have spread. This epistle never would have been accepted. It would have been mocked repeatedly. You don't make this claim if you couldn't back it up. It's not logical. One final point. People may die for a lie they think is true, but you don't die for a lie you know is false. You may die for someone else's hoax, but you don't die for your own hoax. All the apostles except John were murdered for preaching that Christ rose from the dead. If he didn't rise, then they would have been the ones who made up the hoax. They would have been the originators of the hoax. So you may die for someone else's hoax you think is true. You won't die for your own hoax you know is false. It makes no sense. Jesus did rise from the dead. He is risen. That is as well attested a fact of history as any. We may disagree on what holidays we celebrate now. I celebrate Passover and the Days of Unleavened Bread, or celebrated, they just ended. And we may differ slightly on the chronology of the crucifixion week, but we can certainly agree that he is risen. It is illogical to believe otherwise. Peace all. Bye-bye.